Okay, so we are live. I'm running out of out of StreamYard time, but we're gonna watch one more Batman the Animated Series episode. I'm gonna try to put up another video later. Might not be live, but I'm gonna do this two-pack of Batman and Swamp Thing that I found at Burlington Coat Factory of all places. So today we're gonna watch Mad as a Hatter. I'm gonna go ahead and start the episode right now, and I'm gonna talk over the opening for a little bit while I do that to save us a little bit of time. So, a lot of the episodes that I really like on this show, I've established before, are episodes that introduce villains that we haven't seen in any other media before. They showed up on Batman the Animated Series, and this one is kind of one of those episodes, and I have to put a qualifier in that because the villain of this episode, as you might have guessed from the title, is the Mad Hatter. Now, you might be saying, well, Alan, the Mad Hatter did appear on the 1966 Batman television show, so I think you're forgetting about him. Ha, as if I could forget about David Wayne playing one of my favorite villains on the show. No, absolutely not. I did not forget about David Wayne on the 1966 television show. But when the Mad Hatter first appeared in the Golden Age comics, he was a character that looked somewhat like the character as drawn in the Alice in Wonderland books, and that was, I believe, his only Golden Age appearance. That's a great title card, by the way, and it looks just like the illustrations from those books that I'm talking about. However, uh, then when they brought back the Mad Hatter in the Silver Age, he was a very different character. He was no longer had any sort of association with Alice in Wonderland for whatever reason, and now he was a mustachioed fellow named Jervis Tetch, who was obsessed with hats. So instead of being an unnamed fellow who was obsessed with Alice in Wonderland and looked like that version of the Mad Hatter, he looked nothing like that version of the Mad Hatter and had a real name and was just obsessed with hats. So in the 80s, they brought back the Alice in Wonderland looking Mad Hatter and established him as being a completely different character from the Silver Age Mad Hatter that the TV show version was based on. And this version of the Mad Hatter is based off the Golden Age version of the Mad Hatter, more specifically, the Bronze Age version of the Golden Age Mad Hatter, who technically is a different character and claimed that the Silver Age version was an imposter that had stolen his name, and he claimed to have disposed of him. But then the Bronze Age Mad Hatter, the Silver Age Mad Hatter came back a couple of years after that in a Mike Barr, Alan Davis story with no explanation whatsoever and disappeared as mysteriously as he came. So technically, this is the first time we've seen this version of the Mad Hatter in anything outside of comic books. Although we have seen the Mad Hatter on the television series. Are you confused? I'm confused. Red-headed glasses. But it's not Barbara Gordon, unfortunately. But we'll get to see more of Barbara Gordon later. It'll be okay. And you see, he's got the painting on the wall.
Not easy this time, Tetch, but it's a good roll if you slip up again.
She's basically like a female version of Stickley from Batman Forever. But she came before Batman Forever, so.
She's always like that when the big boss drops by.
Sure, this is completely crestfallen. So this is what I just got from Big Bad Toy Store. It's a military Charlie Brown figure. Oh, I've got so much stuff to open.
Guess I'm lucky enough to choose such an amazing man in my life. See you after lunch.
So it's pretty obvious that Jervis is got this rather obsessive crush on Alice.
She's got a boyfriend, after all. Better to withdraw like a gentleman, but get her. Turn my heart to other pursuits.
Yes, Jervis, it would be.
Never.
Hmm.
Look, I've already developed a circuitry card powerful enough.
This is the path to him becoming a Batman villain.
It would be so easy to make her forget a boorish foe and love me. I would reduce her to a soulless shell. Oh, no,
And if you did something like that, do you really love her?
it's hopeless.
By the way, Jervis Tetch is voiced by the great Roddy McDowall, one of my favorite actors. Speaking of the 1966 Batman television series, this is not his first turn as a Batman villain. He played the Bookworm on the Adam West Show. And if you really know your stuff as far as Batman goes, he also read the audiobook of the 1989 movie novelization. So technically he's played the Joker too. So he's played 3 Batman villains.
Sweeper of the beach, treated to a wonderful night on the town. Oh, what could a beautiful girl like her ever see in someone like me? How could I impress her?
Nice silhouette of that gigantic hat.
Jervis?
You know, if you already look like the guy from the book, you might as well roll with it.
I'm here to help you forget your recent heartbreak. Gotham can be a wonder.
And once again, Shirley Walker giving us a fantastic theme for this episode's villain. She did not have to go as hard on this show as she did, but
See that?
aren't you glad she did?
Hey, easy money, get it on way.
This is really a surprise, Jervis. You're so quiet, Edward.
Still waters run deep, my dear. It's always been my philosophy that people should take what they want from life.
Yeah.
Ours too. Okay,
Womp
Mr.
womp.
Net. Let's have the money. On your way, cuz, lest I'm forced to teach you a lesson.
Jervis, no.
Paul Dini wrote this episode, and there was an episode, not an episode of the show, but an episode in his life where he was mugged. And I kind of wonder if this episode would have come before or after that incident. If it came after, I could almost see this as being like his way of getting a little bit of revenge on his attackers.
Are you all right?
I'm sorry.
Jervis's outfit might seem a little outlandish, but honestly, in Gotham City, it might seem kind of more subdued. But it might be the sort of thing where yeah, some people might look at it as being a little eccentric even for Gotham City, or even see him and be like, dude, I bet that guy's a supervillain. Like even before he actually becomes a supervillain. Dramatic music. As if Batman does anything else but be dramatic. He's got like little automated binoculars that come out of the car. He can't be bothered to take them out of his belt. Yeah, that's a pretty cool way to get out of your car, I guess, but now you don't have a seat. I'm sure Batman has another seat that like pops out after he uses it as an ejector seat. Yeah. And these guys will wind up carrying Batman into the river with them. But thankfully, he already did have that jetpack thing, so I guess, well, it's a glider now. But I guess it's a good thing he used it.
Hey, man, keep away from me. We never touched the creek. Okay, maybe we hit him up for money, but we know. Hey, what are we doing?
What indeed?
Monsieur Finch, I have created a gastronomical delight for you, all on the House of Cups. Thank you, Edward.
Pardon, Monsieur Tetch, but would you be so kind as to favor us with a photo for our celebrity wall?
Enchanté, my dear.
I had no idea you were such a man about town.
This is a side I share only with those closest to me. Don't forget to lock up when you're done, Mr. Tetch. Righto.
They've all got the cards in their hats.
You know, Alice in Wonderland was always my favorite story.
Yeah, I know. You got posters and stuff all over your office.
Won't you try that?
That sounds almost kind of like the Joker's theme from Batman '89. Da 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 da.
When you showed me that strange card, I recalled an image from my childhood. It seems those near suicides have run the self-styled Mad Hatter. I saw that picture earlier today in the office of a scientist.
One of my favorite comics was an early Batman Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween special. One of the ones that led up to what eventually became the Long Halloween. And Mad Hatter was the main villain in it. And who's knocking on my door?
What a sweet, funny man.
Alice?
Billy?
No.
Baby, I'm sorry. Can we talk? Good morning. Hello. Good to see you.
Some dude trying to rent my house in the middle of my Batman episode. Anyway, Alice got back with her boyfriend. The picture's back on the desk. There's a rose in the vase.
Thanks so much for cheering me up.
Aw.
Listen, I have the most incredible news. Billy was the one who dropped me off. He apologized, I forgave him, and then he gave me this. Can you believe it? I'm getting married.
Oh, Jervis, just let it go.
Mr. Fred.
Blood. You don't see that very often in a 90s children's cartoon. And you know, it's something that I could have seen that as getting crap past the censors if they just, you know,
I can't still
if she hadn't have said anything, they could have passed it off as like rose juice or something. But he definitely pierced himself on the thorns of those roses.
Oh, do be quiet, Dr. Cates.
He just stuck it in her hair. Maybe he glued like a barrette to the back of that one or something.
Excuse me, Alan. Have you seen Marsha or Jervis Tetch
Oh, they lived together about half an hour ago.
together?
Hello? Hi, sweetie.
Congratulations.
Billy, what's wrong? You sound so... What? But why? Billy? Billy! Mr. Wayne, I think I need a minute alone.
Aw.
Sorry, but we'll say nothing more.
They didn't even have to turn his head to let us see that card. We knew it was there. Even if we were seeing that little corner of it, it's obvious what happened. Jervis again with the grand gestures.
I had to come back when I heard that cat abandoned you again.
How did you know? I didn't tell anyone.
Oh, pish puff. What matters now is we have each other now and forever.
Oh, this is getting too weird.
What have you done with Marsha Hicks and this girl's fiance?
No, I like this game. Let's play another.
He's got all his own brainwashed thugs in various Alice in Wonderland costumes. You recognize the walrus and the carpenter. Oh. Well, yeah. Well, this guy's fat. Batman might be able to lift him. He just uses the curtain. Come on, Batman, lift the fat guy. You know you want to.
I didn't want it this way.
Bullshit. He claims he loves her, but he's willing to just have her be an empty shell and take her body. He doesn't really love her. He just wants to possess her. I can almost feel sorry for him if he didn't do that. It sucks to have your heart broken. It sucks to have feelings for somebody else that doesn't reciprocate them. But if she doesn't love you, she doesn't love you, man. You just gotta let her go. That's all there is to it. We've all been through this. We've all loved somebody that didn't love us back. Property of Gotham Storybook Land. The Cheshire Cat. We all know Batman likes cats.
Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at.
You know they're going to move because they're animated cell characters.
This is the game. Are you, the famous Batman, so intent upon destroying my happiness that you'll harm these poor mind-warped innocents to get
He's already got her in cosplay. And he's got her as the Queen of Hearts. Of course he would see her that way.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. My control over my paw decreases their strength. Guess you found that out, huh?
That's convenient. I guess there could be like some kind of sort of psychological or scientific explanation to that. Like maybe like since it controls their minds, it could also control like the flow of adrenaline, and that way it could give them higher than average strength, almost superhuman type strength. You know, you hear stories about like somebody in a a mother whose child is trapped in a burning car actually being able to lift the car to get the child out of it. We've all heard stories like that. Once they're able to get the cards off, the spell is broken. So, like, a lot of these Batman origins are really good at establishing these sort of psychological motivations and reasons why the villains become villains. And some of them are a little more sympathetic than others. Like Mr. Freeze, I genuinely feel sorry for. But Mad Hatter, I do not. He lost any sort of sympathy that he might have had once he put that playing card onto Alice. It's bad enough to do it to anybody else, but I think that if he hadn't have tried to control Alice's mind, then if there had even just been that one person where he's like, no, I can't do that to her, it would have been enough that I could have had some sort of sympathy for him. But as it is, I just don't.
For you take her, I waited my whole life for her.
Then all you waited for is a puppet,
Batman knows what's up.
a soulless little dog.
It didn't have to be this way. You made me do this to her.
I've always said the biggest difference between a supervillain and a superhero is a supervillain looks at the bad things that happen to them and blames somebody else, and the superhero looks at the bad things that happen to them and blames themselves. You know, you see it all the time with Peter Parker. He's always a guy who, like, even if it's something that any rational person will look at it and say, dude, that wasn't your fault at all. Peter oftentimes blames himself. He takes responsibility for things that aren't necessarily his fault. Batman's a character like that too. But you see how Jervis, everything that's happening right here is due to his own machinations, decisions that he made himself. And he still looks at Batman and he's like, look what you made me do to her. When that wasn't the case at all. Now she can't even bear to look at him. Roddy McDowell, such a great actor. He did such a great job. So let's go ahead and look at our ending credits. And we had Kevin Conroy as Batman, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred, Steve Bullen as Police Dispatcher, David Haskell as Billy, Roddy McDowell as the Hatter, not the Mad Hatter, just the Hatter. Interesting. Kimmy Robertson as Alice, and Loretta Swit as Marcia Cates, who I'm sure people my age and older remember her from MASH as Hot Lips O'Houlihan. Or was it just Houlihan in that? I think it was O'Houlihan in the movie, but just Houlihan on the TV show. So anyway, that was Mad as a Hatter. A great introduction for the Mad Hatter, but I don't think it's the best episode to feature the Mad Hatter. The best episode to feature the Mad Hatter doesn't really feature that much of the Mad Hatter, but we're going to get to that soon enough. So our next episode will be... Go to the more episodes section, and the Cape and Cowl Conspiracy. Oh, I love that one. That one's a good one. That one's based off of a comic book that's also a great comic book, and it was written by Elliot S. Magan. I try to put the emphasis on that S because of the exclamation point that's on there, because periods have no place in comic books. But Mr. Magan, I'm actually friends with him on Facebook. He's a cool dude. And he is, while he wrote a lot of good Batman stories and a lot of good Batgirl stories, he's probably one of the best writers of Batgirl. He's mainly known in his comic book work as a writer for Superman, and he's probably my favorite Superman writer. And he writes the best Lex Luthor, I think. But he wrote an issue of Batman, an issue of Detective Comics, I should say, in the 1970s. It was illustrated by Walter Simonson, and it was adapted to make the episode The Cape and Cowl Conspiracy. So I'm looking forward to that episode. That'll be the one that we have tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow on this Bat channel, and we're going to watch that episode together. All right, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.